Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, and yes, we're back with another video. It's a reaction this time to Gary Neville's The Overlap, obviously presented by Sky Bet. Thank you so much to everybody for your kind comments on the show. I got loads of good feedback, and from rival fans as well, which is really nice. So yeah, my reaction is it'd just be nice to speak about Leeds United a little bit more, instead of sort of the generalisations, which are the American stigma when it comes to Jesse Marsch, and obviously Marcelo Bielsa's still been brought up. But at the end of the day, guys, Leeds are simply not on the platform to be able to give too much time to. You see that the clubs like Newcastle, who were elevated now, who were in Europa League conversations, and obviously now Unai Emery has gone to Aston Villa. Maybe they'll be bumped up in terms of showtime, but Leeds, unfortunately, because of where we are in the table, don't get as much airtime. So that was slightly disappointing, but I can completely understand it. On the back of that as well, what I'd like to say is, big thank you to everyone at Sky Bet for having me involved. That's the third or fourth time now I've been on The Overlap. And yeah, it's great, really, really enjoyable. So it's interesting when Neville and Carragher were talking about the back line. I spoke to them off air, and they were essentially talking about Leeds really struggling, and those two have been a little bit worried about the vulnerability of Leeds United when it came to the quality of the back line, which is something I've said throughout the season, something you guys have said. And, I think they were essentially referring to Leeds doing more transfer business and having to do more transfer business before the season's out. They're not convinced Leeds will be safe, as I'm sure the entire Premier League is. It isn't convinced either. What they did say, though, was maybe Everton were going to be safe, which I thought was maybe a little bit... I don't really understand how Leeds are in a complete relegation battle and Everton are safe. However, I think they were coming from the standpoint of being defenders. Obviously, Neville and Carragher, both elite defenders when it comes to the English Premier League game. And I think they were just saying that, at the end of the day, Everton will keep goals out. Might not score many, but nicking a 1-0 here, a 1-0 there is obviously going to be beneficial for those guys, and their defence has definitely been sturdied up since the likes of Conor Cody and James Tarkowski have arrived, and that's something that Frank Lampard has improved with the Everton side. So I thought that comparison was pretty interesting, but I think both of them are a little bit concerned when it comes to Leeds and us going forward, and us being able to maintain our Premier League status, and that back four was something that they both honed in on air and off air, which I found quite fascinating. So yeah, guys, you have to let me know what you think. Unfortunately, there was a lot of chat about the American stigma thing. Leeds didn't get a lot of airtime, but I tried to do my best to keep the conversation going and try to move it away from the American stigma and talk a little bit more about the tactical intricacies of what Jesse Marsch brings to Leeds United. And yeah, hopefully I gave a good account of myself and Leeds United. Make sure you let me know what you think, everybody. Do you agree with what Carragher and Neville were saying? Do you agree with what I was saying? Let me know in the comment section below, and hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
Let's move to Leeds. We've got Connor here. Of course, a few of your players will be playing against England in the World Cup for America, isn't it? Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. But you've got a US manager as well in Jesse Marsch, and he's turning the corner now, isn't he? I mean, or no? Yeah, your expression says no.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more cynical, but it's the style of football for me that I'm not 100% convinced on. I think in the Premier League you have to have possession, and it's all about turnovers, kicking the ball up as quickly as possible and then recovering that ball in the attacking third. And Leeds have really struggled with that this season, because teams, Bournemouth have done it, Fulham have done it, they just clip the ball over the press, and then because Leeds press in about 5-6 units, we're exposed, we're vulnerable. And it's funny against the top teams, so Liverpool, incredible performance, but it's because Liverpool are trying to pass through us. And the pressing units work, then it's effective. But if you just get simple tweaks, playing the ball over, route one, Big Sam-esque, Leeds really struggle with that. And I think Leeds fans are understanding. I know we've turned a corner a little bit, but the long-term view is it seems very vibey. It seems very vibes. At the weekend it seemed to be Ellen Road pushing the side on. We came back against Bournemouth, but Bournemouth should have been respectively 5 or 6-1 up at the time. Fulham should have been 5 or 6-1 up at the time, going into the break at half-time. So I'm a little bit more cynical about it. But he has turned the corner a little bit. 2 wins in 2. But for me, the jury's still out.
But is there a thing with Jesse Marsch? And we met, was it your first game for the club or second game?
It was at Wolves, I think, wasn't it? Wolves,
yeah.
You two
And it's almost one of them. I thought Leeds could go down last season. I thought, is it one of those things that because of, not necessarily who he's following, but just because of the fact that there is a little bit of the fact that just because he's American, there's always the jury's out from day one. Almost like there's never, is he ever going to be accepted? And that's not just by actually Leeds fans, Do you know what I mean by that, don't you? There's a bit of that mocking
The
of
old Ted Lasso
yeah,
thing,
there's a
isn't
bit of
it?
that mocking
Well, you know,
sort of...
was it Bob Bradley? Was that Swansea, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that mocking vibe, isn't there, around sort of Jesse Marsch? I
Does
think
that come from? I mean, that you're talking about football in general.
Yeah,
there,
that's
aren't you?
not from
But
us.